Well, hello there, folks. It is Bradford from Beacon Finance and Consulting here, and today I wanted to give a brief overview of what I personally do in my personal financial system. This, not necessarily tax heavy, but taxes play into everything, and they're the fabric of life. So, sure, we'll extrapolate a little bit. You don't have to do this. Hopefully it helps out a little bit. Different teachers from different areas will tell you to do different things. This is just what I do to hopefully help you with your personal financial journey. So here's kind of my system, and what I've done is I've started off, giving you my system, with my business, so it's a little bit more dense than what a lot of yours will probably be. But I've also gone ahead and below indicated a sample one that you could use. And of course, it's my bad left-handed writing, which you know and love. So basically, I don't think I need to talk about this too much. There's three different banks that I use, really only two, because I don't really have much need. I don't get much cash anymore, so I don't really have much need for cash deposits. But I have one for the business, which is at Fidelity, and another one, personal, which is also at Fidelity. I just like them. They're very easygoing. Customer support's always been really, really good for me. Now, once the money hits Fidelity, whether it's in the business or personal, of course, the first thing that we do with that money is pay bills with it, right? Now, most of the bills that I pay are through credit card expenses, and I do this every Friday. I pay off all my credit card balances every Friday. It just helps me budget and know what I have spent in a regular, somewhat, cadence. And I've talked about that in another video. So that's what I do. Rent, of course, comes due once a month. That's pulling from this Fidelity account. Now, from there, when I have a surplus of money in the Fidelity account, I will divvy it out. I'll send it to savings for, an emergency fund. I'll also fund my Roth IRA with the excesses of this, and that is the order in which I would do it. Operating account first. From there, divvy it out to bills, savings, and long-term savings. That's basically what these are. Now, in my system, I'm doing Roth, personally, because it makes sense for me from a tax standpoint. Remember, I'm a tax guy, but I'm not your tax guy, so talk to your tax person, for any questions that you have about what you should do. But I also I don't have them anymore, some pre-tax IRAs, which I was also converting to Roth kind of at the same time as part of my tax plan, because Roth just made and makes more sense for me at this stage in my life. So that's basically what this is. Now, there's a couple different scenarios that you have. If you have your own business, it might be good to model something like this. It doesn't have to be a formal LLC depending on your business structure, but having its own bank account would be a very good idea, and its own credit card. But let's say you have an employer. There's a couple different options that you can do. But primarily, you would kind of do the same thing. Have a checking account somewhere, such as Fidelity. You could use Ally. There's all sorts of different options. From that operating checking account, you divvy it out to your bills, pay off your credit cards each week. That's what I personally do. Such as, and also my credit cards, you can look at the points guy and figure out which credit cards are the best. I like coming up with a system and not really tinkering it with a whole lot, because I just think the time cost that it takes to optimize everything all the time is just not worth the reward. So for me, I use Chase Ink for my business card, and I have a Fidelity card, a Discover card, and a Chase Sapphire. And that's just what I use on the personal side. So for you, Discover is a very, very good company to start off with. They're very, very flexible, especially for students if you don't have a credit card or have never had much credit history. But and you don't have to use a credit card to pay your bills. But once you pay your bills, though, the next thing to do would be to send it to a separate savings account, such as Discover or Ally. And I would use an online place to do this. And then from there, you could fund your Roth IRA or your pre-tax IRA, wherever it might be. I use Fidelity personally. You have Vanguard, Charles Schwab. There's an array of different options here. Now, let's say you have an employer that does direct deposit. You can actually have them divvy up, if they're able to, if they're willing to, I should say, and send money to your operating checking account. They could send a fixed amount to your savings and send a fixed amount to your IRA. So that is a system that you could develop that is pretty easy to do if your employer is willing and able. The other thing is, if you get cash, it is worth having a brick and mortar. Now, that being said, sometimes what I have done is I have gone and bought money orders for myself and then remitted them. It's kind of a pain. It's easier if you do have a brick and mortar, such as Bank of America, Wells Fargo, PNC. Personally, I used to use PNC. Now I use Navy Federal. So, because they're in enough locations and I don't get a whole lot of cash. So cash is pretty rare for me. So that's my system. Feel free to share yours in the comments. And until next time.